Okay, so continuing with Pirkei Avos, we're going to address one of the, shall we say, most controversial Mishnayos in Pirkei Avos, something which has caused trouble due to its misunderstanding. So let's address this, and we'll see that the exact opposite is true. So the Mishnah begins with Yosef ben Yochanan Ishu Shushalayim Omer. He said, "Yehi beischa pasuch levach." Your house should be wide open. V'yoaniyim b'nei beisacha, and the poor should be members of your household. And here we touch upon the touchy topics. So the altar b'sicha im ha'isha. Don't speak too much with the woman. B'ishto amru. This is with one's wife. Kavachor beishas chavero. How much more so with another man's wife? Mikan amru chachamim. From here the chachamim said, Kol hamar b'sicha im ha'isha. Anyone who speaks excessively with the woman, goreim ra'a li'atzmo. He brings evil upon himself. Uboto midivri Torah. And this causes him to neglect Torah study. V'sofa yorish Gehenim, and in the end he'll inherit Gehenim. So, just imagine how this sounds. Don't talk too much to your wife. She's evil. That's what it sounds like, at first glance. Obviously very delicate. Sounds like, a lot of male chauvinism, and women are, the bottom of the totem pole. So I'd like to show you how it's all predicated upon a misreading. And when you understand just one word, which you can only know by understanding the essence of the Hebrew language, you'll see that the Mishnah means the exact opposite. Now, first on one level, though, what we can certainly understand and appreciate the concept of, things don't start from nowhere. And things start with a simple hello, a simple text, a simple email, a simple phone call, and many people have gotten themselves in lots of trouble. So one has to be very careful when dealing with women. Men have to be very, very careful. Men have to be extremely careful. We should appreciate that danger of how things can lead down the wrong path. It's no stranger to our society. It's become, practically a protocol for the presidency. It's who's coming out first. It's whether it's this president, upcoming elections, past presidents. Everyone's in trouble all the time. Whether it is true, it's not true, but we understand that's the nature of the world that we live in, that many people, all too common, have crossed lines that shouldn't be crossed. And certainly it's an extremely important concept that, things begin somewhere, and it starts with the excessive talk. What starts off as a friendly conversation can lead down a bad path. One has to realize where it starts and, stop it before it goes too far. So certainly we can understand this. It's, this kind of talk, certainly even in a friendly manner, can be very dangerous. One has to have proper guidelines. It can, it causes man, as it says, to waste time from Torah and ultimately inherit Gehenim, purgatory, a bad place, right? Someone once said that they were discussing the issue. He was first beginning to work in an office with non-Jews, and so he asked the Shaila if he should wear a wedding ring so that everyone should know that he's married. So So he said, his Rav told him, if you need a wedding band to tell other people that you're married, then you already have a problem. In other words, there's a certain way you carry yourself before the wedding band. If it's all about the wedding band, you know, then if that's your only barrier, you're in trouble. It's a whole mode of behavior and the way you carry yourself and what you say and what you don't say, and lines that shouldn't be crossed shouldn't be crossed. So that's extremely important. Not discussing whether to wear a wedding band or not. That's not the issue. The issue is the behavior behind it. Then I was talking with someone else who's very successful, and you know, he's in this world, and he told me, he said, I want to tell you that the opposite is true. He said, you should know, and he told me, I'm telling you, this is true. He says, when people see the wedding band, it entices them. That's the kind of world we're living in. That's the kind of world we're living in. The Gemara says, there's a pasuk, Mayim genuvim yimtaku. The stolen waters are sweeter. The stolen waters are sweeter. It's more fun when it's forbidden. So, you know, that's the world we're in. That's the world we're in. Now let's turn this Mishnah totally around, okay? So there's a very, very, very important word which needs to be emphasized. When the Mishnah here tells us not to talk excessively with a woman, it uses a very specific word for speech, sicha. It says, al tarbe sicha im ha'isha, do not increase sicha, speech, with a woman. Now, what is sicha? This is the key to it all. This is the key to it all. There are many different words in the Hebrew language which have a connotation of speaking, like, you know, Omar is to speak, and Dibor is a form of speech, and there's all different kinds of words out there that express speech. The word sicha has, the brother of the Vilna Gaon writes this, and others, that the word sicha specifically has a connotation of wasteful words, just, you know, shooting the breeze. Words that have nothing constructive, no constructive purpose to them, even if they're not forbidden necessarily, but words which idle chatter, words which have no constructive purpose. Now, when we understand that completely turns everything around. Do not speak words which lack constructive purpose with women, and that's with your own wife, certainly with other people. Let's appreciate this. That means to say, you think that women are just objects and they don't have brains, and you're only going to talk about just having fun, what the world calls having fun, and things that make no difference and have no constructive purpose? You understand what a Jewish woman is? Speak to her about important things. Ask her advice about matters. Talk to your wife about the loftiest of matters. Don't speak to her about things that have no constructive purpose, because that is something which only diminishes her value. You talk to people without brains like they have no brains. To people, you know, if you have somebody who's the rocket scientist, to just talk to him, you know, about the latest baseball game, you're kind of wasting your time, you know? You're kind of diminishing his value. Don't talk to your wife about things that have no purpose. Talk to her about things that are meaningful. Have meaningful conversations. And if this is true, even with your own wife, that if you're going to speak in terms of diminishing her value, it's going to lead to bad places. How much more so with other women? When you treat them that way, so only bad things are going to come. And we can now it's okay. Well, so I think that's point. I'll just conclude that once we understand this, that it means to put women on the pedestal, the exact opposite of our initial understanding of the Mishnah. put women up on the pedestal. Speak to them about important matters because that is what they are deserving of. And if you don't, then it's going to lead to trouble, and it only cheapens them and what their value is. The Torah only puts women in the highest esteem. A woman, a wife is the house. Rabbi Yossi would call his house is referring to his wife. She is it all. That is a man's home, man's protection, man's everything. So that's of great significance. Just to put this in terms with the first half of the Mishnah said that you should, we spoke about reaching out to the poor. So if you we spoke about how women may hesitate to have guests, and if you speak to her in terms of sicha, of things that lack positive purpose, then yes, then that is going to lead to a bad. You're also not going to have guests. She's not going to understand the value. But when you speak to her value, to what she is really worth, then she carries also herself a whole different behavior and will be more than happy to have guests because you're speaking to her of value, and it gives her more value, and she understands a world of value, and she's communicating with her husband with values. So they will have those values of bringing people into their home and giving to the ani and to the poor. So what we thought was the most controversial Mishnah, putting down women, is actually the most praiseworthy to women. Speaking about how we should put them on the pedestal and only speak to them about important matters because that is what they are worthy of. Okay, now,
Okay,